Kincade. Johnny, happy Monday. Hope you had a wonderful weekend.
I did, and thanks for the alert about the active shooter yesterday.
Yeah, you're welcome.
As I'm watching the Masters, and Andrew says, hope you're safe.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going,
I care about you.
I
want to make sure
appreciate
you're
you. Love
all right.
you too, buddy. But I'm like, what the hell's he talking about?
Yeah.
And my wife's like, oh, yeah, there was an active shooter downtown Landview. And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
I said, wow.
Unfortunately,
Crazy.
everyone is
Everybody's okay, though.
Yep. So that's good. But yeah, scary situation in
Thanks for the scare.
downtown Westchester.
Yeah, it was crazy,
man.
Crazy.
All right, so I jokingly say it, but I'm dead serious. If I ask the question to start the show, you know how I always like to ask a question to start the show, get the audience engaged. Can someone explain to me what they are doing? If that was the question, you might want to ask, which team are you talking about? And I can respond with, you pick. Because the scary thing is you don't know if I'm talking about the Phillies, who had a horrible weekend, dropping 2 of 3 against the Cardinals. Game 1, sure, they looked like a team that had an extra innings game the night before and had to travel. And but really, it's
they're sleeping in first-class seats, recliner first-class seats.
Exactly.
Could you stop?
And then yesterday was awful. Wheeler not his best stuff. And, of course, lineup construction, which we will get to, which is why I asked the question, can someone explain to me what they're doing? I can also talk about the Sixers when I asked that question, who ended their season yesterday. The losing streak continued. The tank is official as long as you can get the draft lottery to go your way. And then Daryl Morey, Nick Nurse was there. It was like a Howie Roseman Sirianni press conference when Nick
I'll talk.
Yeah.
I'll talk.
But it's mainly Howie.
Did you ever get in trouble like at school or something and your parents had to come and they'd be like, you just sit there.
Yeah, just sit there.
I'll do
got
the talking.
This. Yeah. Yes, that's happened. Nick Nurse and Daryl Morey spoke to the media after their final game yesterday. And there was a lot that Daryl Morey had to say and a lot where I asked the question, can someone explain to me what they're doing? So we'll get into both teams today. But real quick before we continue, on Friday, Johnny, you and I were both intrigued by the topic that Bill Colarulo had for the listeners of the Mike Missanelli show, sans Mike Miss. He was at Augusta. It was Bill Colarulo and Andrew DeCecco. And remember, he asked the question, what makes everybody feel so confident that the Eagles will have another hit in the draft, right? We're just kind of at the point where we're expecting the Eagles to continue to do well in the draft. Nobody can tell you, John, that it's a lock that they have a great draft, that you can't guarantee that they have a great draft.
No one can say that.
Yeah, you won't know. And by the way, you won't know for maybe a year or two, right? But what they are is an organization that should give you nothing but confidence. They've won the Super Bowl, been to 2 in the last 4 seasons. They've been tremendous. They've been successful. They've had highs and lows, but the highs have been the highest they could possibly be at winning the Super Bowl, if you want to go 2 since 2017, right?
Correct.
That organization, even though they may have lulls,
they breed trust.
And you go, all right, they'll fix this. Are we thrilled that they've had to do a lot of cost cutting so far this offseason? No. But you also realize that there's a plan, whereas last time the Eagles won the Super Bowl, there was no plan. They gave the thank you contracts, and it went in a direction that was pretty damn bad. Now you're going, all right, look, they at least have a plan. They realize once they won, they need to retain the young players that will eventually become free agents. So they're going to have to start making some moves, even though they might not be fan favorite moves. The players that might be moved are fan favorites. At least they have a plan. So when Bill asked that question on Friday, it makes me think about the Sixers and Phillies. And I go, well, those two teams, that's why I have the confidence in the Eagles to have another hit draft.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't know what the Sixers' plan is. But I've said that for 2 years. The Sixers are stuck on. They're going to try to convince you that this can still be fixed. Spoiler alert: it cannot. The Phillies have plenty of time to fix things.
Absolutely,
plenty of time to fix things. But they wasted an off season where they had an opportunity to fix things because what was obvious to them is not obvious now. Do they understand Brandon Marsh yet? If I hadn't said this all off season, I would not be so angry about it. Do they know what Brandon Marsh is yet? I could have told them. I tried to convince our boy Connor Thomas that I knew the answer to this question, but they seem to not be able to figure it out. Do they know yet? Do you know how many players, by the way, in Major League right now active in the major leagues have a streak of hitless as long as Brandon Marsh has in their careers?
Oh, in their careers?
Yeah, I heard this yesterday. I'm stealing this from MLB Radio. 3.
Ah, nice.
You son of a...
Bang.
Way to spoil my fun.
I knew it wasn't going to be high.
It's a disgrace.
Yeah.
But you know what they continue to do? Let's just throw them out there. Even when it's not advantageous. So I don't know what the Phillies are doing. I honestly don't know what they're doing. But I do have faith that they have time to fix it and that they have the pieces that can fix it.
Yeah, there's levels to this conversation.
Right, I mean,
when I say, can someone explain to me what they're doing? Like, I still think the Phillies are a playoff team, whereas I don't know the direction that the Sixers are going in.
I just don't know.
The Phillies conversation is kind of coming off of this weekend that was bad.
But the Phillies don't. The Phillies, the problem is this. The Phillies tell you one thing and do another. Whereas the Sixers, they just tell you very proudly what they think they're doing. And it's the stupidest plan on God's green earth. And they're going to sell it to you again this offseason. Yeah, Joel Embiid, he's going to come back. And he's going to be dedicated to being in the best shape of his life. You're going to hear all that again. And you know what we're going to get? We're going to get more of what we got. The Eagles, God bless you. God bless you. That we do have an organization that I can count on.
Yeah, and so that's why when I hear Bill ask that question on Friday, which we'll talk more about that later on the show.
Yes.
I laugh because I go, look at the other teams. Like, look, and even the Flyers, like at least the Flyers have a plan and they're rebuilding and you understand what they're doing, but it's been a long time since they've been successful.
Well, they're not even through their true, but this draft is mission critical.
Absolutely.
And more importantly, what Danny Briere and Keith Jones have told us they were going to do, they've done.
Correct.
They have been men of their word. Now they just got to make their decisions right.
Right. And this is their big offseason, and we'll see how it plays out.
Huge.
So we'll start with the Phillies. I would like for somebody to try to explain what they are doing. Now, there are some people. You mentioned Brandon Marsh. The next segment will be a Brandon Marsh segment, much like my timeline is the Brandon Marsh timeline, or just my Twitter profile, because at this point it's just nothing but Brandon Marsh tweets. It's
absurd. So people don't know what the hell to talk about. Across baseball media, they don't understand what the Phillies are doing. You're investing so much in it. So that's why your timeline's getting polluted with it.
Well, and there are some people that are responding with, this is why they're doing it. So at least people are trying, John.
Gotta have patience with him. He's coming into his own. We have a ceiling. He still has a ceiling. No, he doesn't have a ceiling. He hit the ceiling.
That wasn't necessarily the answer I'm seeing on social media. I'll tell you what it is coming up next.
Ceiling.
But you don't have to like the answer. And I'll tell you right now, I don't like the answer that people are trying to give me to explain what the Phillies are doing. So coming up next, Brandon Marsh. We start with the Phillies and their outfielder. Because yesterday he was in left, and my God, did he have another moment in the field that makes you wonder, how good is he?
Instincts.
610-632-0975. The question is, you can try to answer it, or if you just want to vent, have at it. Because today's one of those days after a weekend like that.
Terrible.
In Philadelphia sports. It's Kincade and Salciunas on this Championship Monday, Johnny. Don't forget that
part of it.
Here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Tyrone Johnson.
It's notable.
Hey guys, Andrew Salciunas from Kincade and Salciunas. Thank you for checking out all of our stuff on YouTube. Make sure you click, like, subscribe on everything that you see. And of course, you can see everything from our YouTube feed. Full shows, interviews, when John's being an idiot, which is like 15 times a day. So make sure you check out all of our stuff on YouTube. We appreciate it.